There about unique value proposition, or UVP. And this is something that is a really crucial business concept, and it's a way to set yourself apart. It's a way to talk about how you differentiate yourself against kind of like a crowded marketplace. So what sets you apart from your competition? And so the UVP, the unique value proposition, and positioning statement, those are two really similar tools that we use in marketing. And some people use them as separate tools, and some people will use them as the same thing, like a euphemism for each other. And that's the way I use it, because typically for the businesses that I'm working with, they're quite often small businesses, independent businesses. They don't need to have a separate unique value proposition, unique selling proposition, positioning statement, all of these things, like slightly different, when really they overlap massively. So typically the big difference between a UVP and a positioning statement is that a positioning statement tends to be for internal use first, and the UVP tends to be for external use first. But I tend to use those as the same thing, because they pretty much overlap, like 99%. That's the way I think about it. If you talk to some other marketers, maybe they differ on that. But it's something that's really crucial, because what it does is it allows you to set yourself apart, and it talks about who you are specifically for, and what you do for them, and what the benefits that you provide them are. So we're going to look at all of that. Now, this is a little bit experimental today, because I'm using a tool that I haven't used before. And I like to do that. Of course, go live and use something you've never used before. Of course, that's one way to learn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to connect up ChatGPT, which is the tool I'm going to use today, but I'm actually going to connect it up via my phone. So let's see how this goes. So I'm going to share my screen here. And so now you see over here, I'm going to have my phone on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, this is just a text editor that I use all the time, which is called Notepad++. And I'm going to put in some notes from our discussion in here, and I'll make that big enough so that you can see it. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to create a UVP. So we're going to create it live here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see, can I connect up my phone to the computer here? So let's see. And we're connecting. Here we go. Excellent. Right. So it doesn't show quite as high res as it would be as it is on the phone screen, but I hope that you can see this. And let me see, can I make this even bigger for you? I'm going to see, can I make this bigger for you? Yeah, there it is, a little bit bigger. And I'll turn off the graphics, and that will just help you to see it a little bit better as well. So let's turn off that caption. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this feature of ChatGPT on the phone, which is this little feature here where my mouse is, and that is voice dictation. And the reason why I'm going to use that is because that feature is what allows me to do a lot of stuff really, really quickly on ChatGPT. And I use dictation with AI all the time. And I think it's a really, really crucial way of interacting with it that really speeds you up. So I'm able to do some stuff with AI very, very quickly because of that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use this, and this is why I wanted to share my phone screen so you could actually see in real time when I'm doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to start helping me to create this unique value proposition. And I'm going to tell it what I'm going to give it some instructions. I'm going to just narrate these. So I haven't got any of these written down first. I'm going to narrate these. I'm going to make all of these prompts available to you afterwards. But to start out, I'm just going to narrate in and just give it over voice dictation. I'm going to give it those prompts. So I'm pressing the dictation button here. And of course, it's going to take all of this dictation that I've just given you. So please ignore everything so far and start taking my prompt now. So what I want you to do is I want you to ask me a series of very simple questions about my business, and I want you to help me to formulate a solution-focused, unique value proposition. So I have an independent consulting business, and I want you to help me to create that UVP. So I want you to ask me 5 to 8 very simple questions to start with. And so you can see that it's taken what I've just written in there. I'm actually going to go back and delete the bit of stuff that I shouldn't have had there. So it probably would ignore it, but just in case, seeing as we are doing a live, I want to try and get some of this right. So it's giving me some questions. So you can see here, it's taking in, and it's actually giving me all of these questions here. Okay, so now what I can do is now I can actually start to answer these. For number 1, my ideal target client is an independent consultant or expert-based business. For number 2, the core service that I provide to them is marketing and coaching services around helping them to build authority in their field. For number 3, the specific problem that I solve for them is, first of all, they may not be niche down enough and they may need to specialize their business. And so I can help with helping them to specialize and niche down. And the other thing that I help them with is actually the process of content creation. And that can be really difficult to do. There's a lot of nuance to content creation. So I help them with that problem. For the 4th question, how my approach differs from other consultants in my field, I don't know. And I might need your help with that part. For number 5, what are the significant benefits that clients get from working with me? The ultimate benefits from building authority are that they get to detach their income from the hours that they work. So they no longer have to work on hourly rates. And what that allows them to do is that allows them to command premium fees, to work less hours, and to never have to work with a bad fit client again. So the answer for number 6, can I describe a success story or transformative experience a client had because of my consulting? Yeah, so I had one client who I was working with, and after one meeting, we were able to work on their offer, and they were able to get an additional 11,000 in recurring revenue monthly after working with me. So that was a great testimonial. For number 7, what's your client's biggest pain point that you consistently see? For me, the biggest pain point I see is that they don't start, that it's never urgent enough, that it's like the frog in the boiling water. There's never a point where it becomes urgent for them. And so my answer for number 8, what's the core values that guide my consulting practice? Fiduciary responsibility, so always putting the client's interest first, that's core. Honesty, integrity are core values for me, and having fun. I like to have fun while I'm doing business. Okay, so what I'm giving you here and what I'm giving ChatGPT are my answers to these questions, and I forgot that I'm narrating again. And so I got to hit stop there. And now I got to delete that last bit that I just said. But what you can see is I'm actually I asked it to ask me questions, and I've just answered the questions. So let me just be very careful. Now, if you're using this tool where you are, where you're using dictation in ChatGPT, be really careful, because when it comes out, when the text comes out, it's all selected. And if you hit any of the keys on your keyboard, it'll overwrite the entire selected text and you'll have to start narrating it all again. And so just be careful with that. It is easy to mess it up. Speaking, having done it several times, it's still pretty damn cool. Okay, there we go. So now I've put in my answers. So now it's taking everything that I've given it so far, and it's starting to create the initial unique value proposition. And I can scroll down here. Wow, and this is super long that it's given me back. Oh, and now here is something that I've seen before. You'll see that it has my, yeah, okay, yeah. So it disappeared for a second there. I don't know if you noticed that, but its answer disappeared and then came back again. So it's still a little bit buggy, this app, but I think that it's still pretty cool. So you can see, so it's given me now, thank you for the responses. So what I did was I gave it my answers. So let's just recap from the start. I said, I want you to ask me a series of very simple questions about my business to help me create this solution-focused unique value proposition. And I said, I want you to ask me 5 to 8 simple questions to start with. So it gave me 8 questions. And all I did was I hit the narration tool and I answered all of those questions. And you should be able to answer these questions for your business. Now, the thing is, if you don't know how to answer those questions, you can always tell it, I need your help in answering this question, and get its feedback on doing that. And that's what's pretty cool. And that's how you can actually get stuff done really quickly. You do need to know the questions to ask. you have to experiment with it a bit. And for example, I knew that I wanted to ask it for a solution focused unique value proposition. So solution focused UVPs are typically used in consulting and expert type businesses where we provide a solution. Typically, it's a transformative solution, and quite often it's intangible and invisible because that's what we do. People who are working in kind of professional services, what we do is it's not like a laptop that you can pick up and check the build quality. It's not like a pair of Nike or something where you can see the quality. What we do is much more trust based, and particularly when you're doing inbound marketing, you want to do inbound marketing and authority marketing, you have to have a UVP that is based on the solution. So that's why I asked it specifically for a solution-based UVP. And it's given me back its suggestion here. So it says, thanks for your responses. To address the gap of question 4, let's explore how you might differentiate yourself. So if you remember, when I was talking to it, I did say, hey, I don't know quite what the answer is for this question, so please help me with that. And so it's given me here, it's given me some suggestions on style, tools, client experience, and that's actually given me a hint as to what I can do with that. So now, based on what you've shared, let's create a preliminary UVP, and so it's given me this here. So, as a dedicated authority building coach for independent consultants and expert-based businesses, I specialize in marketing and niche specialization services designed to elevate your business above the crowded market. Leveraging a deep understanding of nuanced content creation, I empower you to establish thought leadership, enabling a shift away from hourly rates to premium fees. And this is 100% right for me. And I did that very, very quickly. So I've been live for 10 minutes or so here. And I was able to do that through that narration and just asking it to ask me questions and then simply taking each question one by one. Now, I answered those questions, I think, a little bit quicker than a lot of people would answer those questions. That's okay. If it takes you 20 minutes to answer those questions, you can actually ask it to ask you the questions one by one. You know, there's different ways to approach this. I'm doing a live demo here, so I do want to I want to make progress here so that you can see how this works. So, but you don't have to do it that way. So now we have something here that's pretty cool as UVP. Now, what you can do next. So this is actually pretty damn good, right? But I'm gonna ask it to refine it down a little bit. I really like what you've given me so far, and it seems to be accurate for my business. But I want to refine it down and make it a bit more concise so that I can use it in various places in my marketing. Like, for example, my LinkedIn headline, my LinkedIn banner image, and my homepage for my website. Can you give me some shorter variations of this that I can use in those places? And can you best suggest where I can put those? And I would appreciate if you could give me your answer in the form of a 2-column table with where I can put it and the variation of the UVP. Okay, now I got a bit more complex here with what I asked it to do. So I asked it to give me this table back, and I really like getting stuff back in the form of a table. I find it quite visual and very easy to scan through. So I asked it to give me these shorter variations. Now, like everything with ChatGPT or any AI tool, I would not recommend that you use all of this verbatim. You can and probably still should tweak the language, the wording. It's never going to be as good as what an expert will give you, but it's going to be pretty damn good. And so, and you can see here, so it's given me these options, different variations here. And so it's given me all these different variations, and it's given me, you can see it's given me one for email signature, given me one for website service page. It's not necessarily that you need to use the specific one, that they're specifically matched to those pages. It's just that these are all variations that you can use. And so you can see, so for example, I don't tend to use the term authority building coach, but it's suggested that as a term. And I know this isn't perfectly easy to read, so apologies. I know it's a little bit kind of pixelated. That's because the tools I'm using. I'm going to find a better tool to do this. But yeah, you can see how you can use this very quickly to come up with something. And some of these are absolutely usable for me right now. Like I could take any of these, and most of them will be pretty good to put on a LinkedIn banner, on a banner image or something like that. So and I'll just show you where I'm talking about, so you know what I'm talking about here. Let me see. Just gonna pull up my LinkedIn profile here. So when you're looking at your, it's because I'm live, it's showing me it's going a bit meta here, but there, it shows you your banner here, and the banner image has some text on, so you've got some text that you can put on there. Then you've got this text here as well that you can use, and that's your your title. And then you also have your about section, and so your about section here, and so it's given me suggestions that I can use in all of those places, which is pretty cool. So that is a UVP, a unique value proposition. So now I'm just going to get it to give me one more thing. So we're only 15 minutes in. I said I needed 30 minutes. I think we're doing pretty good on time here. Okay, so what I want you to do now is give me a positioning statement that is in the format, I help these people solve this problem or get this result so that they can do this benefit. Okay, so please give that to me based on all of the information that I just gave you. And I'm going to tweak this because I didn't get that quite right, so that they can get this benefit. And I'm going to say, solve this problem or get this result by doing this. So I just put in by doing this. So the positioning statement I'm looking for is, I help these people solve this problem by doing this so that they can do this. That's basically it. And so this positioning statement, and so what it's done is it's given me variation now. I help independent consultants and expert-based businesses achieve market authority and premium pricing by specializing their niche and mastering content creation so they can secure recurring revenue and enjoy more freedom without the constraints of hourly billing. That is damn good. That is really, really good. This is not far off what I have on my homepage in different places. It's a slightly different variation of it, but as a positioning statement, that's really, I think that's nailed down pretty well. Okay, so that's where you can create. That's how you can create a UVP, a positioning statement. Can you give me some suggestions for ways that I can use my UVP and positioning statement, and what the appropriate way is to use it? Now, this is, again, when you're not sure, just ask. And I love it. It's giving me a table as well, because I asked for a table earlier. So now it's giving me a table again. But when you're not sure what to do, you can ask it to give you suggestions. And so now it's telling me, okay, so use it as an introduction when you're meeting new people. By the way, this use your positioning statement as an introduction when you're meeting new people. So if somebody says, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. What do you do? Don't say I'm an accountant or I'm a consultant or I'm a marketer. Say, I help these people solve this problem, and actually give them your positioning statement. And that's why I like that positioning statement format that I gave you earlier, which is I help these people or we help these people solve this problem or get this result by doing this so that they can do this. And you can leave out the last clauses. You can make it shorter, so you can have a short version for one place and a longer version for another place. The networking events thing, by the way, is really interesting, because what you can do is you can actually test your positioning statement when you're talking to new people. So give a slight variation of it, just word it slightly differently when you're talking to the next person, and you'll get feedback very quickly. And I think that's a great way to get feedback on your positioning. So yeah, and it's giving more help on how you can use it there. Now, what I'm going to do with this, so first off, please give me a list of all of the prompts that I used in this conversation so far. And this is a nice little hack that you can use in ChatGPT or any of the AI tools. You can ask it to give you a list of all the prompts that you had in the conversation, and it's just a nice little one. So I'm going to make the prompts that I used here, and I'm going to make this entire chat, because in ChatGPT, again, you can share a chat. so you can get the link. So I can share this link, and I'm going to share that link, and you can see it comes up. So I don't want to have my contacts come up, but you can see that you can share the link. So I'm going to share that link for you, so that you can access this chat and actually see the chat that I did here. And yeah, that's it really. I would love to get any questions that you have. Let me see, is there any questions so far? No questions so far. I know it's Friday evening for a lot of people. So on this topic, I can't close this because it's on it's on the phone screen. But you can see here how you can actually create something really incredible in terms of a value proposition, and you can create something really quickly. I think it's amazing. So I actually thought it was going to take 30 minutes, but in reality, it probably took me about 12, 14 minutes to do that. Now, I know not everybody is as familiar with using these tools as I am. So yeah, it might take you a bit longer, but you can always, if you're getting stuck, just ask for help. Just tell it what you need to do, what you want to do, and it's actually able to guide your responses and help you to do this. And what this will do is this will allow you to, when you go to that networking event and you're introducing yourself by saying, I help these people solve this problem, you're introducing yourself in a totally different way than if you say, I'm an accountant or I'm a consultant. It's placing you in their head in a totally different place, because what they're doing is that they're going through their mental Rolodex, their contacts list, where they're trying to figure out, do they know, and they'll do this subconsciously, where they'll figure out if they know anybody who has that problem or who is one of those people. And what it will do is it's a much more effective way of introducing yourself. It's much better when you put your positioning statement, for example, on your homepage. And I like to put it front and center on your homepage. I think that's important for people who sell professional services, intangible services, because what we do is not tangible in the same way that other things are. So, and they're not known, they're not understood in the same way either. So what one person is, they say they're a consultant, and somebody else says they're a consultant. So people might lump them in the same box, but those might be two entirely different types of business. And so when you describe it in more detail, what you're doing is you're telling the audience who arrive on your website that you're for them or not for them. And if you're not for them, okay, well, they're not a good fit client. But if you are for them, they'll recognize it immediately, because you're literally calling it out to them. And so then everything else in your marketing effort, so all of your content, can then be in alignment with that positioning statement. So the positioning statement that you create is all in alignment. All your marketing, all your content marketing is in alignment with that positioning statement. So, and I'll just give you another quick example of what I'm talking about here, in terms of a way to use this. So, if I say here, let me see. I want you to help me work on my content marketing strategy, specifically my content pillars. I'm looking for a list of themes or topics that I should talk about in my content to attract my ideal target clients. Can you help with that? So again, here, what I'm doing, I'm being quite generic in my question, like, can you help with that? And I'm letting it decide how to help me. And sometimes you can be more specific with that. I could say, give me a list of 5 topics or something like that. But I've asked it for help, and I'm going to see what it comes back with. So it's coming back and saying content pillars, key themes or topics that will form the backbone of your content marketing strategy. And so it's given me niche specialization, which is true. And I have a podcast called the Specialization Podcast, which you can check out if you want some help with niching down. Authority building. So this is the big one that I focus on: articles, guides, even this video on personal branding, speaking, engagement, content creation, mastery, how-to guides and tips. Well, I guess that's exactly what this is. So there's kind of crossover here, but that's exactly what this is here. Marketing strategies for consultants. Yeah, I mean, for me, the marketing strategy that I talk about is building authority in inbound marketing. Pricing and value. I do talk about that a bit, but it's like, I know people who are much stronger on pricing and value, so it's something I think is important to talk about. But I've had Chris Doe on the podcast, I've had Jonathan Stark on the podcast, I've had Alan Weiss, and Ron Baker, the godfather of value pricing, and all of those people are people who I would listen to about pricing and value. So, but I do think it is super important. So you can see these. Not all of these are things that I would really be interested in talking about. So lifestyle design, talking about how consulting can lead to a desirable lifestyle. That's not something I'm really interested in talking about, and I would ignore that one. Fiduciary responsibility and ethics, I think, are super important, and it's something that's important to me personally. But I don't know if it's something that I need to talk about in my marketing, because I think that it's picked this up because I mentioned that being a value of the business. And I think that this is something that ChatGPT will do. Is sometimes it will bleed over from one answer into another. So that isn't really a content pillar for me, but it has picked that up because of discussions earlier in the conversation. So again, you can't take anything that it gives you here verbatim, but it certainly gives you a really good place to start from. And so what you can do here is you can start to go through this, and you can say something like this. So given my UVP and positioning, can you help me to come up with 5 ideas for blog articles in the topic or theme of authority building? Okay, so I didn't really word that great, but it's good enough. And so now it's giving us some suggestions on that particular one. So, and all of this, so everything that we've done here has, like, I haven't copy pasted any commands or anything. All of the prompts and everything I've just narrated in, and I've just given answers to its questions to help me do this. Now, I was considering doing this for somebody else's business. I was considering taking one of my clients and answering it as if I was them. But I realized that I wouldn't be able to answer those questions that quickly, based on, I don't know their business inside out. And depending on the specifics of the question that asked me, I might not be able to answer that. So that's why I chose to use my business here. You will be able to answer those questions for your business in a way that will be, you'll be able to do that much easier for your own business. So so that's it. That is that's how to create a unique value proposition in 30 minutes, or actually in around 12 minutes, really, if you go check out that particular section of the video. And if you're interested in this, I'm going to be doing some more lives on Monday, Tuesday. I don't know about Wednesday, we'll see. And next week, from Thursday, I'm starting a paid bootcamp challenge, and that's called the Authority Bootcamp. You might be interested in that. It's going to be, first of all, it's going to be 3 sessions a week. One is going to be a mini training session and kind of weekly kickoff with an assignment. And then 2 of the other sessions per week are going to be a focused work session. So what they are is they're going to be where I'm going to do a roundtable at the start of the session and ask people what they're working on. And then you're going to work on creating your content, whatever that week's challenge is. You're actually going to work on it then and there. I'm going to run a Pomodoro. So that's a timer for 25 minutes. We'll have a 5-minute break and then another 25-minute sprint. And then at the end, I'll just have a chat with everybody about what they've been working on and the progress that you're making. And what this will do is this will give you a hard time that's set aside in your calendar just for content creation. And the reason why I think that's important is because I know from talking to people who are doing this that one of the biggest challenges they face in content creation is actually setting aside the time for it. It's a bit like going to the gym. It's never urgent, but it's always important. So that's why I'm running. You can go to therecognizedauthority.com/bootcamp, and there'll be a link on the homepage as well for that. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go check out therecognizedauthority.com/bootcamp, or check out the link on my social media. There'll be links there as well. Okay, folks, thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Cheers.